I said in my last column that if you get 10%, I would say MNM has arrived. But of course, that is my expectation.
But we are not keen on just being part of the game. We want to go further. We want to change the game. Whatever happens, you cannot dismiss of Makkal Neethi Mayyam from the map of Tamil Nadu politics. One is not in power, one is in power. One is a very venomous reptile. The head is gone and the tail is twitching, but their fate is sealed.
So you didn't consider caste as a criterion at all for
not for me.
Selection?
Not for me. And
for the other candidates?
It's not lip service, because even our candidate selection
no, that's
Manu,
what I'm asking. For other
Manu
candidates,
does not have a column.
I know,
caste.
your application doesn't have, but
Application doesn't have.
But
and I don't have that.
Many people might be tired of the two Dravidian fronts and Dravidian parties. So can you put it succinctly in three? In 3 points. Why should I vote for you? Why are you an alternate?
Contestants in our party, one, have no criminal background. Point number one. Why is that point number one? Because there is, and their background. Point number two is that they are not promising social service after they come into power. Most of them have already done social service and are known for it. The reason why I chose Coimbatore is that it has been a playground, a religious disharmony, slowly being designed there. And some of the top corrupt ministers come from there, including the chief minister's area comes around that region.
There's hardly more than 3 weeks to go for the 2021 Assembly election in Tamil Nadu. And one question we all ask is there a space for a credible third front in Tamil Nadu? Whether there's a third front or not, I have with me somebody who tells me that his front is the first front. We have with us, and I'm very thankful to Mr. Kamal Haasan, actor, politician, the next promise, as many look up to him. So without much ado, I'll get into the questions, sir.
Thank you.
I think we last met in 2019, April 19.
Yes.
That was the day after the 2019 Parliament election.
Yes.
And I asked you a question, what would be the vote percentage? And you asked me how much I think. And just a short recap, I said maybe a little less than 5%. And you said you expect 10%. And we all know that you got about 3.7%. Though in many cities, many constituencies, including Chennai, Coimbatore, you got up to 11-12%. So, well, if 2019 was a kind of a practice session for you, are you ready for the real game? And what is your expectation in terms of numbers and percentage?
Yeah, I'll not go into analytics, because things can go terribly wrong with these kind of analysis. So I would go with what kind of traction we have in the public and the reaction, because most of my career in another life had been guessing on these kind of reactions from them, and what I get is a new wave of empathy towards us from the audience. I've been with people from my childhood, and I've seen public accolade, criticism.
But have you been able to quantify? Because I'm telling you, 2019 must have been a lesson for you, because how you estimated yourself, how you gauged yourself, and the reality as it happened. So, what are the lessons from 2019?
Lessons from 2019 is, first, we were nascent as politicians, and our footfalls, Kaira footfalls, were not as effective, because we were not trained political party, and we did certain things which we have corrected over the time. Apart from that, the time that we had only 18 days to popularize this.
Okay.
Last time. Not that we had more time now, we still have less time, but we have already done this job. Unfortunately for us, we have retained.
In between, there was an uncertainty.
We were quite concerned about that. But right now, that is also there. So those kind of things in various trajectories, if you see, we have improved as a party. The component of the party has vastly the what do you call
But
the
again,
wealth.
to bring you back to my point, that would you put a number this time?
Now, I would put a three-figure into this. That is win. That's what we say. We want to win, and that's the aspiration. So we will do everything. It might even if people say that analysts who I've been talking to, if you cross a particular double digit,
10%.
yeah, 10%, then you are in the game.
I said in my last column that if you get 10%, I would say MNM has arrived. But of course, that is my expectation.
But we are not keen on just being part of the game. We want to go further. We want to change the game.
No, it's one thing, Kamal, to be ambitious, and it's very good. But at the same time, you also have to be realistic, right? Because we have seen parties claiming before every election that we are going to win, and they lose. So you also, as an
we want
alternative.
to. I don't say we are going to win.
Right.
We want to win.
Okay.
It's a fair expectation, and that's what we are saying. We want to be pragmatic, and over the time, the wealth of the party by human resource has vastly improved, because what we started in 2019, the number of people who have come inflow
Right.
of talent and experience is it's a sea change. Even we could feel
Okay,
it.
there is a marked change between you wanting to win and you actually thinking that you would win. So I get that point of yours. So the next corollary to that question is that, what have you thought of what next after the election? As if you might make a mark for sure, but then you might not be able to make that mark to attain power. So have you also considered
Whatever happens, I'm not diffident about talking about whatever happens, because we're ready for everything. Whatever happens, you cannot dismiss of Makkal Needhi Mayam from the map of Tamil Nadu politics. That's where we are now, and that's a very important place to be in the first 3 years of our.
Definitely. When you are in that place, who do you see as your major rival?
See, people who have become so callous that they don't even take fear criticism about corruption or jail anymore. They are my enemies. I mean,
Would you name a party?
both parties. One is not in power, one is in power. One is a very venomous reptile. The head is gone, and the tail is twitching, but their fate is sealed.
What about the other?
The other has to be contended with. They're equally bad, but they have a head. It's a live and kicking animal, fang and bag full of venom. We have to take them on, and that's what we are getting ourselves.
So
prepared for.
you foresee.
And I'm not talking now. This is not a personal attack on anybody.
Sure.
If they are willing to change, then we are willing to change our criticism as well.
Okay. Which means that there is a possibility of a friendship in the future if the head and the tail start behaving.
Willing to change has not happened in 50 years. I don't see it happening within the next 5 years. But if it happens, I will believe in miracles.
But if it happens, so will there be, okay, I'll put it more straighter. Has there been a juncture when you ever thought of tying up with the DMK?
No.
I've
I've said that two and a half years back. I think I was sitting in Pollachi when they asked, and we discussed that later in the party, because it came off the cuff on an interview like this. And I said, I'm not. I will not choose one laundry soiled bundle of
But
laundry.
that was 2 years ago. I remember meeting you maybe more than 2 years ago, 5-6 months before the launch of the party. We met at Somerset, and then of course you said that I'm open. You never know. Even BJP may not be an untouchable. It was a passing mention, of course. It was not a political analysis per se.
No, but in the sense, even now, politics has no untouchables. But I know what is untouchable is that corrupt and nation dividing politics is no good for us.
So as long as those parties remain,
Yeah,
so you're
see,
not going to touch it.
let's not mistake spirituality for this kind of the bhakti movement, the recent bhakti movement that has started. That's different. This is different.
Okay,
I
you
think
you claim to be the alternative. Okay, a person like me, I can tell you, I look up to you, MNM, as an alternative because many people might be tired of the two Dravidian fronts and Dravidian parties. So can you put it succinctly in three? In 3 points. Why should I vote for you? Why are you an alternative?
contestants in our party, one, have no criminal background. Point number one. Why is that point number one? Because there is, and their background. Point number two is that they are not promising social service after they come into power. Most of them have already done social service and are known for it.
Okay,
And
your
that's
people.
why
So number one is your people you present.
my peopling. So, and another thing is their qualifications. It's not just money alone. There are people who are quite affluent, but not affluent enough to foot the bill of the party itself. Including myself, you cannot say I can't compare me to some of the billionaires.
So just an aside, how do you manage then? You're battling these huge money bags.
Yeah, I keep on taking work. Yeah, and I charge a bomb, and that's helpful. The fact is that I'm investing all that recently.
So it's entirely your money, or your party members also contribute?
The party members, but mostly it is my money. Even the recent last minute pumping in is done by my money.
Okay.
And that's not enough, I know that. But that's the way it is. And we are not, our expense list.
So you see it
is-
as an investment in terms of
people,
achieving.
in people,
Not
in
on-
people.
yeah.
Because you see, I believe in paying tax, and I believe that itself as an investment into what I get back. It's an investment in people. So this is investment in people. It's a sort of a return gratuity for what all I've received all this.
So number one is people. So, 2 and 3, why are you different from others?
The people and their quality has brought about a manifesto which is actually doable, and these are people who have already done it and helped other people arrive on a vision statement for governments.
Okay.
We have with ourselves the vice president or one of the vice
So
presidents.
your people, your policies. Is there a third one or?
And the fact is that we place people before our ideology,
Okay.
which is the basic tenor of centrism.
Well, see, and there is an irony here. We ran polls. I mean, many organizations have run polls. One question is that why do people vote? Do you vote for the party or the candidate? We also ran a poll asking whether you take manifesto seriously. Sadly, ironically, people said that no, we don't take manifesto seriously because what they say in the manifesto they never practice. They never put to practice. Two, they don't. 70% of the people said that yes, I vote for a party. Sometimes I don't even know the candidate. So, but you are investing in people, manifesto and policies which go against the grain of populist reality, the ground reality. How do you plan to break this irony which is keeping you in this grey, uncertain area?
I have this positive approach because I've done it before. In a Tamil film industry where they said even the great people like Shivaji and NGR never crossed that line, which challenged the status quo of the business
Okay. The formula.
pundit's formula
Yeah.
as arrived upon. I have always challenged it and I've won.
Okay.
And in a very difficult situation, it's equally disturbing as it is in politics.
You mean to say even Shivaji Ganeshan and MGR did not challenge it?
They did not challenge. They went to the edge, but never pushed the envelope beyond a particular thing. But I have always kept pushing it, and it's not about just being the rebel or the renegade. Pushing it and winning. and to bring about a change in Tamil cinema, to bring about the National Film Awards and a populist Silver Jubilee film into one framework. We have done it.
Will that be as easy in politics as it was?
Nothing is easy. It wasn't easy in cinema. On hindsight, it might look like easy because it's done. But when we started, we were looked upon like fools with ideals
So
and nothing
this
else.
change has to be driven from the hinterlands, the rural areas, right? Because populism serves its purpose or reaps its harvest in the rural areas. Because as we are very clear that your party has got the maximum votes in urban centers. So if you, I know that you have worked so hard the last 3 years in the rural areas. Most of your tours, travels have been so. But ironically, again, including you, Mahendran, Shat Santosh, everyone, most of your big names, the big shots are all contesting in urban centers. Is there an irony, an intrinsic irony here?
No. See, the number
Is it
of
purely based on winnability?
winnability, and also for my, let me tell you my choice, because that would give you exemplary gratia of how others have done it. I have chosen, why not Mailapo or
You
Alvapet?
thought of it?
No, it was suggested.
Okay.
The reason would be that my caste background would be the thing. I didn't want to be caught in being a captive of that.
Just in a sense, so you didn't consider caste as a criterion at all for
Not for me.
candidate selection?
Not for me. And
For your other candidates?
it's not lip service, because even our candidate selection.
No, that's what I'm asking. For other
Manu
candidates,
does not have a column
I know,
caste.
your application doesn't have, but
Application doesn't have.
But your-
And I don't have that. The reason why I chose Coimbatore is that it has been a playground for a religious disharmony. They're slowly being designed there. And some of the top corrupt ministers come from there, including the chief minister's area comes around that region. So that was my linear target. And also the BJP is contesting there with the National Party is also there.
okay.
And
So
I
you
want to be
consider
there.
that you're going to face 2 national parties.
Yes,
there.
2 national parties.
And Vanati has invested a lot in terms of energy, and she has been cultivating the constituency, reading herself. So how do you rate your prospects?
As we see it, it's good. Even last time, it was good. From what we hear from the ground, it's only going to be better. We are not going to regress at all.
Okay, this time also, so we expect that many of your people, since they are contesting from urban centers, so most of your seats are going to come from urban centers, obviously.
Not necessarily, because what I'm receiving, there are people actually competing to get into the seats in the rural areas,
Okay.
and qualified people.
Oh, within your organization?
Within our group, there is, which is very, very not comforting, but it's a good feeling. And even we have given some seats to other parties who are allies. And our party men say that we would have won. We have given winning seats to them. And it's not just bragging. Some of them might be saying the truth.
Okay, these projections now show that DMK is far ahead. I'm not asking you to comment on it, but my question is, if at all things change, if they're not correct, and if there is a hypothetical question of, if there is a hung assembly, what will be MNM stand? Will you tie up with somebody? Will you ask for power sharing? See, if your 10% or whatever, 20% or whatever you get is going to be crucial in formation of a government, have you thought about it?
See, first we will have to help people instead of burdening them with another election. But if it's worse and we have no choice but only 2 evils to choose from, we'll push for another election.
So right now you consider both them equal evils.
I think so. Most.
But you
of
will
the people-
consider that the people should not be forced.
That is the first concern. The reason why I don't contest from 2 constituency is also for the same ethic.
Okay.
With
So you
which
will
have
consider the
I don't know, but
Yeah,
but the moment when I say consider, we're,
No, no, you
we're
don't rule
talking
out.
about horse traders stepping in and bidding in. So I don't want to be part of that at all. It's something that
You will
is-
think about.
That we'll think about, and we cannot arrive on an answer.
Right.
No.
No, that will take us to another situation where if you have to choose, if you were to choose between CM, EPS and Stalin, who would you choose?
I won't.
You won't choose either.
No.
So you'll ask for another CM?
Yes,
David?
that's what I mean. Because if these are the only choices, then I need not have come into politics at all. That is the
So
answer.
just two quick questions, if you don't mind. As a friend of Rajni, what do you think? Why Rajni backed off, and who has benefited out of it?
No.
Have you benefited?
No, I would have benefited if he had come. And what I did is what I consider as my investment. And his decision is based on something which is not at all political. It's personal and health based. I'm not willing to construe any other meaning or.
No, I'm just asking as a friend, what have you understood? Is it?
I think his health is more important, and he's made the right decision. I'm talking now as a friend, not as a politician. He's made the right decision, health above everything
Right.
else.
Every well-wisher would do
Yeah,
that.
and this is not just a recent nascent friendship. It's a long time. I've seen him as a very young man
Yeah.
seeking my advice for what to do next. And we've been that kind of friends. And my advice to him is keep his good health, which is more important.
True.
And he has done the right thing. I mean,
And what about the other person who backed off, Shashikala? What do you think?
I think that's a check and mate. She has to go. And she has, that's not her decision.
Yeah, we all know that.
She's made it look like it's her decision. But it's already been decided that she'll have to go.
Would you like to say who you think was behind that?
It doesn't matter the who managed it. If it is a good person that BJP or somebody has managed to convince, then I'll be concerned. It's a person, it's good riddance, and she's gone.
So May 2nd, when the results would be out this time, where do you see yours?
I think I have a bright and positive outlook for Makkal Nidhi Mayam. And the reason is that I get that impetus from people.
So you're for the long run again. This is not.
Absolutely.
Whatever be the results.
Whatever be the result, we are here for the long run.
And will you be number one, number two, number three? You say that you want to be number one. Will you settle for a number three?
See, I've told my party that what is failure? They asked what will be failure? If we sit in the opposition, that will be failure according to me. Success is when we seize power. That's all. These are the two positions. These are the only available positions we'll be filling.
That is the being in power.
Being in power is why we came into this.
But even after this election, that is May 2nd, even if you're not in power, you will continue to
absolutely,
be
absolutely,
with efforts to be in
yes.
power.
Till this is these two parties are eradicated and a new possibility arrives, I'll be striving for it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.